I was 8 months pregnant, shopping for my baby, when she grabbed my wrist and accused me of stealing her diamond bracelet. She had security strip search me in front of everyone, called me a thief, a criminal. She had no idea my fiancé owned the entire mall. Revenge was beautiful. Before this story begins, hit that subscribe button because what you're about to hear is absolutely insane. This has everything: public humiliation, false accusations, police involvement, and the sweetest revenge you'll ever hear. Drop a comment if you've ever been falsely accused of something. Now let me tell you about the worst day that turned into the best day of my life. My name is Charlotte, and I'm 28 years old. When all of this happened, I was 8 months pregnant with my first child, a little girl I'd been dreaming about for years. I worked as a freelance graphic designer, nothing glamorous, just enough to pay my bills and save a little for the future. I lived a simple life, drove a regular car, wore comfortable clothes, and honestly, I liked it that way. No drama, no attention, just peace. What most people didn't know was that I was engaged to Daniel Torres. If you're not familiar with that name, Daniel is a real estate mogul who owns half the commercial properties in the city. Shopping malls, office buildings, luxury apartments, you name it, he probably owns it. But Daniel isn't the type to flash his wealth around. He values privacy more than anything, hates being in the spotlight, and we both agreed early on to keep our relationship low-key. I didn't wear a massive engagement ring, I didn't post about him on social media, and I certainly didn't go around telling people who my fiancé was. We were just two people in love, preparing to welcome our daughter into the world. That Tuesday afternoon, I decided to go to Grandview Mall. It's this high-end shopping center on the east side of town, filled with designer stores, expensive boutiques, and the kind of shops where a handbag costs more than my monthly rent. I wasn't there for any of that fancy stuff, though. I just needed to pick up some last-minute baby items: onesies, bottles, blankets, all the essential things you need when you're about to become a mom. My feet were swollen, my back ached, and honestly, I just wanted to get in and out as quickly as possible. As I was walking through the mall, bags in hand, I passed by this gorgeous jewelry store. The window display caught my eye because they had these delicate little baby bracelets with customizable nameplates. I stopped for a moment, pressing my hand against my belly, imagining one of those tiny bracelets on my daughter's wrist. It was such a sweet thought, and I stood there for maybe a minute, just daydreaming about her. That's when everything went wrong. A woman came storming out of the jewelry store, and I mean storming. She was probably in her mid-40s, dressed head to toe in designer clothes, a cream-colored pantsuit that probably cost more than my car, stiletto heels that clicked aggressively against the marble floor, and jewelry dripping from her wrists, neck, and ears. She had 2 friends with her, equally dressed up, and they were all laughing about something until she suddenly stopped dead in her tracks. Her face went from cheerful to panicked in a split second. She started frantically touching her wrists, her neck, patting down her pockets. Then she screamed. And I mean screamed so loud that everyone within 50 feet stopped what they were doing and turned to look. My bracelet, my diamond bracelet is gone. I watched as she spun around in circles, her friends rushing to help her search. The store manager came running out, asking what was wrong. She was hysterical, claiming that her $20,000 diamond bracelet had vanished into thin air. People started gathering around, curious, concerned, pulling out their phones. I should have walked away right then. I should have just turned around and left, but I didn't. I was frozen, watching this woman have a complete meltdown in the middle of the mall. And then, her eyes landed on me. She pointed directly at me, her perfectly manicured fingers shaking. It was her! She was standing right here! I blinked, confused. What? I didn't... Look at her! She screamed, cutting me off. Dressed like that, pregnant and desperate, she probably needs money. She stole my bracelet. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Everyone was staring at me now. Phones were recording. The woman, I later learned her name was Vivian Lancaster, was creating the most dramatic scene I'd ever witnessed, and I was at the center of it. "Ma'am, I didn't take anything from you," I said, trying to keep my voice calm even though my heart was racing. "I was just looking at the window display. I didn't even go near you." "Liar!" she shrieked. "Security! Stop her! Don't let that thief leave!" Before I could even process what was happening, 2 mall security guards appeared on either side of me. I tried to step back, tried to explain, but Vivian was relentless. She demanded they search me immediately, right there in the middle of the mall corridor. "Please," I said, my voice shaking. "I'm 8 months pregnant. I didn't steal anything. Just check the security cameras." "She probably hid it in her bag," Vivian shouted, "or under her clothes. Search her now." One of the security guards, a young guy who looked incredibly uncomfortable, asked if I would voluntarily show them my bag. I agreed, hoping this nightmare would end quickly. I opened my shopping bags, my purse, everything. They found baby clothes, bottles, my wallet, my phone, no bracelet. But Vivian wasn't satisfied. "She's hiding it somewhere else. Take her to the back room and search her properly." I couldn't believe this was happening. "You can't be serious," I whispered. "I didn't take anything." "Then you have nothing to hide," Vivian snapped. They escorted me to a security room in the back of the mall. Vivian insisted on coming with me, along with her 2 friends. I was crying by this point, terrified and humiliated. A female security guard conducted a thorough search, went through every pocket, every fold of my clothing, checked everywhere. Nothing. There was no bracelet because I never took it. When they found nothing, I thought it would be over. I thought Vivian would apologize and I could finally go home. But I was so wrong. "She must have passed it to someone," Vivian insisted, "or swallowed it. This isn't over. Call the police." "Please," I begged, feeling contractions starting from the stress. "I need to sit down. I don't feel well." Vivian stepped closer to me, her face twisted with rage. "You should have thought about that before you became a criminal." Then she slapped me. Hard. Right across my face. The room went silent. Even her friends looked shocked. My cheek burned, tears streaming down my face. The security guards didn't know what to do, and Vivian just stood there satisfied, like she'd accomplished something. "People like you make me sick," she hissed. "Call the police. I want her arrested." They made me sit in that security room for 30 minutes while they waited for the police. I was shaking, crying, worried about my baby. I managed to pull out my phone and call Daniel with trembling hands. "Charlotte?" His voice was warm, concerned. "What's wrong? Where are you?" I could barely speak through my sobs. I tried to explain what happened, the accusation, the search, the slap. With each word I could hear his breathing change. "Which mall?" he asked, his voice suddenly ice-cold. "Grandview," I whispered. "Don't say another word to anyone," he said. "I'm coming right now." Vivian, who had been standing nearby, overheard part of the conversation. She laughed, actually laughed. "Oh, calling your boyfriend? What's he going to do, sweetie? Sue me? I have the best lawyers in the city." I didn't respond. I just sat there, waiting, praying that Daniel would hurry. The police arrived about 10 minutes later. 2 officers, a man and a woman, started taking statements. Vivian put on this incredible performance, painting herself as the victim and me as some calculated criminal who targeted her. The officers asked to see the security footage from the corridor. The footage clearly showed me standing by the jewelry store window, alone, not going anywhere near Vivian. I never touched her, never approached her, never interacted with her at all. "Ma'am," the male officer said to Vivian, "the footage doesn't show her taking anything from you." "Then she's good at hiding it," Vivian insisted. "Search her again. She must have hidden it somewhere. Check everywhere." That's when everything changed. The mall manager suddenly burst into the security room, his face pale and sweating. He looked terrified. Behind him walked a man in an impeccably tailored suit, and my heart nearly exploded with relief. Daniel. He walked into that room with the kind of presence that makes everyone shut up and pay attention. His eyes found me immediately, and I saw the flash of fury when he noticed my red, swollen cheek. "Where is Charlotte?" he said quietly, but his voice carried weight. I stood up on shaky legs, and he was beside me in an instant, his hands gentle as he examined my face, his jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscle twitching. Vivian, still clueless, stepped forward. "And who are you supposed to be? Her boyfriend coming to defend her criminal behavior?" The mall manager looked like he might faint. "Mrs. Lancaster," he stammered, That's Daniel Torres. He owns this mall." I watched the color drain from Vivian's face. Her friends immediately took several steps back, distancing themselves. Daniel didn't even look at her yet. He was focused entirely on me. "Did she hit you?" he asked softly. I nodded, fresh tears falling. Now he turned to Vivian, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. "So you accused my fiancé of theft," he said, his voice deadly calm. "Had her searched, humiliated her in public, and then you struck her, while she's 8 months pregnant, with my child." Vivian's mouth opened and closed like a fish. There was a misunderstanding. My bracelet is missing, and she was standing there, and I thought—" "You thought what?" Daniel interrupted. "That because she doesn't wear designer clothes, she must be a thief." He turned to the security team. "Pull up the footage from inside the jewelry store, all of it." They rewound the footage, and there it was, clear as day. After Vivian finished her purchase, her assistant, a young woman who'd been carrying her shopping bags, placed the diamond bracelet in one of Vivian's other shopping bags. The bracelet was never missing. Vivian never lost it. She just didn't check her own bags before accusing an innocent person. The police officer sighed. "Ma'am, you filed a false police report. That's a criminal offense." "It was an honest mistake," Vivian protested, her voice rising to a shriek. "I didn't know it was in my bag. How was I supposed to—" "You didn't know," Daniel said, cutting her off. "But you were certain enough to assault a pregnant woman, to have her strip searched, to try to have her arrested?" He pulled out his phone. "Officer, I want to press charges: assault, battery, false imprisonment, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress." "Please!" Vivian's entire demeanor changed. She went from arrogant to panicked in seconds. "I made a mistake. I'll apologize. I'll pay for any inconvenience." "You wanted the police involved," Daniel said coldly. "Now they're involved." But he wasn't done. He asked the security team to compile all the footage, the false accusation, the searching, the slap, everything. Then he had it sent to the mall's public display screens. Within minutes, hundreds of people shopping in Grandview Mall were watching what Vivian had done to me. The gasps, the angry murmurs, the comments, it all echoed through the corridors. People started recording the screens with their phones, posting on social media. Vivian's face appeared on screen after screen, her cruelty on display for the world to see. While this was happening, Daniel made phone calls, right there, in front of everyone. First, he called Vivian's husband's law firm. They leased office space in one of Daniel's downtown buildings. "Cancel their lease," he said simply, "effective end of the month." Then he called the director of the City Arts Foundation, a charity organization where Vivian served on the board. Daniel's family donated millions to that foundation every year. "Either Vivian Lancaster is removed from your board immediately, or my family's funding ends. You have 1 hour to decide." The director called back in 15 minutes. Vivian was out. Her social status, her reputation, everything she'd built. It was crumbling in real time. Her friends had already disappeared, literally left the building. She stood there alone, mascara running down her face, watching her life fall apart. The police officer approached her with handcuffs. "Mrs. Lancaster, you're under arrest for assault." "No, no, no!" she screamed. "Do you know who I am? Do you know who my husband is?" "Your husband," Daniel said quietly, "just texted you. You might want to check your phone." With shaking hands, Vivian looked at her phone. Her face went even paler. Her husband had sent a single text: "I'm filing for divorce, don't come home." She collapsed into sobs as they handcuffed her, leading her out through the mall. People watched, some recorded, and Vivian Lancaster, who'd walked in that day feeling untouchable, left in handcuffs, broken and humiliated. Daniel's lawyer arrived within the hour. We filed a civil lawsuit that same day. Daniel also arranged for a medical team to check on me and the baby. Thank God our little girl was okay, but the doctor insisted I needed bed rest for the remainder of my pregnancy. The story went viral that night. Rich woman falsely accuses pregnant woman of theft was trending on every social media platform. Vivian's face was everywhere. People dug up her past, previous incidents of her treating service workers poorly, throwing tantrums at restaurants, making racist comments at a charity event. She became the face of entitled privilege overnight. Her husband's law firm lost several major clients who didn't want to be associated with the scandal. Within a week, he filed for divorce and released a public statement condemning her actions. Vivian was banned from most high-end establishments in the city. The managers didn't want her drama in their stores. She faced criminal charges for assault and was looking at serious fines and possible jail time. The civil lawsuit we filed was for emotional distress, defamation, and the potential harm to our unborn child. Her lawyers begged us to settle. 2 weeks after the incident, I went into labor. Daniel was by my side the entire time, and we welcomed our beautiful daughter into the world. We named her Hope, because even in the darkest moments, hope had arrived in the form of Daniel, justice, and the promise of a better future. Vivian's lawyers eventually convinced her to agree to a settlement. She was financially destroyed between legal fees and her crumbling reputation. She offered a written apology and a significant monetary payment. Daniel and I talked about it for a long time and decided to accept on certain conditions. All the settlement money went to establishing a foundation that helps victims of false accusations and public humiliation. We wanted something good to come from this nightmare. Vivian also had to complete 200 hours of community service at a women's shelter, working with women who'd actually struggled, actually been marginalized and mistreated. And she had to issue a public video apology, admitting what she'd done and taking full responsibility. When I watched that video, I didn't feel triumphant or vindicated. I just felt sad. Sad that it took losing everything for her to understand that cruelty has consequences. Sad that she'd treated people poorly for so long that no one stood by her when she fell. Sad that she'd judged me based on my clothes, my appearance, my perceived status, without ever once seeing me as a human being. But I also learned something important through all of this. I learned that standing up for yourself matters, that you should never let anyone make you feel less than you are. I learned that true love means protection. Daniel didn't just comfort me, he fought for me, defended me, made sure justice was served, and I learned that karma is very, very real. Vivian lost her marriage, her social standing, her reputation, and her freedom for a time, all because she couldn't control her cruelty, all because she made assumptions about someone based on how they looked. As for Daniel and me, we got married in a small, private ceremony 2 months after Hope was born. We're raising our daughter to be kind, to be humble, to treat everyone with respect, regardless of what they're wearing or where they come from. We tell her that true wealth isn't about designer clothes or diamond bracelets. It's about character, integrity, and compassion. And that's how a woman who thought she was untouchable learned she wasn't. Vivian lost everything. Her reputation, her marriage, her social status, all because she couldn't control her cruelty. If this story got you fired up, smash that like button. Comment below, justice served, if you think she got what she deserved. Share this with someone who needs to hear that bullies don't always win. Subscribe because I've got more crazy stories coming your way. Remember, treat people with kindness because you never know who you're dealing with. See you in the next one.